This is AI Buddy Landell, and you're about to listen to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. So stop working yourself into a shoot you numbnuts. This show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't be a dumbass and get offended by anything on this show. And if you do get offended, that's a you problem. Before I throw it to the fellas for another banger of an episode, shout out to all the BTT patrons who keep this show going, including the largest Patreon contributors, Disrespectfully, Classy, Mark E. Blassie, Joe Ice, Good Old Justin, and the Token Smurfette and John Potts. Now, enjoy this Outlaw Mud Show podcast. Remember, if it don't snow, it don't go. And be blessed and be a blessing, pal.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Booking the Territory Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is the one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast, where tonight we are covering WCW Saturday Night on TBS from April the 2nd, 1994. We hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, a very nice one, and you filibustered at your family's Thanksgiving dinner, as the directions stated at the end of last week's episode. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video, and make sure you type a comment or two what you like or didn't like about the episode. It helps the channel grow. We had been running a 2 months free on Patreon if you signed up and went annual last month. I just kept the party going, and we're going to keep it going through Christmas. So the day after Christmas will be when it ends. So if you're not a patron, become one at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT and get all of our pay-per-view reviews, Clash of the Champion reviews, and so much more. The JV Goon Squad shows, the World Class shows, all available on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. And when you go annual, whether you're a current patron or not a patron at all, you'll get 2 months for free. I'm sitting here with Doc and not Hard Body Harper. Harper is not available today. We're actually recording this the week of Thanksgiving, so we had to shift a bunch of stuff around. He couldn't make it. Wildcat has the Revolution Rumble this weekend, or the last weekend actually. So there's just a lot going on and whatnot. But let me welcome in Doc. Doc, how are you?
Well, there's a lot of info there.
Yeah, it was. Good. I wanted to get it in before we get going because we get I'll forget because I'm stupid sometimes.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, don't be so hard on yourself. We're just getting started. We have plenty of time for that. So would you say that we're the only company in the world that's lowering prices right now?
If not lowering, the only thing that's going up is the shirts on the Pro Wrestling Tees store. And that's simply because if you don't raise them, you're basically giving them away or taking a loss. So you have to
don't want to do that.
Yeah. So like they used to be $19.99 10 years ago when this pod first started. Well, 9 years ago, because that's when the store opened. But, over 9 years, I had to raise them because you're not making anything off a shirt. Not that we make much off of shirts, but, it is something that you can do to support the show. So that's the only area where prices have gone up. And even then, it hasn't gone up at the cost of inflation like everything else.
Right. Nothing. I mean, that's hard to do.
But yeah, we're probably the only ones lowering or remaining the same.
Okay. Good for us. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving and didn't do anything in their filibuster that gets them uninvited for Christmas,
I don't think they care. Our people are,
Oh.
They do what they want to do.
Okay. Well, also a choice. Well, before we get into the wrestling today, even though he's not here, Harper continues to always have an influence on things that occur. And for those of you who continue to be amused with the ongoing adventures of Harper telling people to grow up, but constantly messing with toys, we have another instance, and then we have some Mike stories with this as well. You want to tell the people what we got from Harper last night?
We got
out of nowhere, really.
We got a text message. If you remember, Coleco used to make these, I'll call them mini arcade games. There was like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Frogger and I forget the last one or the other one. God, I forget the name of it. Anyway, I'm looking at the picture, but I can't see the name of the game. So we get this from Harper, and it's from an ad from, good God, it's got to be 40 years ago because I can't remember when those things first came out. But let's just say it's in the mid 80s, early 80s. And these games are $59.99 each. Now, Doc, while I'm talking, why don't you throw that into the inflation calculator and figure out, just say June of 84, how much one of those things would cost in today's money. Because it's $59.99 back then. Okay.
I was thinking $2 million, but we'll see.
Yeah, see exactly what it comes out to. So he said,
Okay.
he messaged us. He says, I wanted one of these mini arcade games so bad when I was a kid. Now I know why I didn't get one. $60 in the early 80s. And I thought, my first thought was the same as you. He loves toys. That's what he does. And then he tells people to grow up as he has a Pac-Man clock.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we all struggle with is not that you like toys. I mean, you're a grown man, but do what you want, right? It's your free time. And yeah.
Spend your money on what you want to spend your money on. You made it, you know?
Right. But then he comes on these sacred airwaves and just destroys people for their choices that are not that different than his.
Tells them to grow up.
Yeah.
What was the promo he cut on adults going to Disney or whatever? It's like he just went off on people, man.
I mean, like, there's not people who, grew up like we did that didn't get to go, that may want to go and relive that. But, when they make something of themselves, I mean, you don't know.
That's Harper.
Just drawing a line in the sand for no reason. And anyway, first of all, those things were a pipe dream, I would imagine, in your home as they were in mine.
Oh, I wasn't getting one of those things for nothing. I didn't even fix my lips to ask for it.
Right, exactly. Now, the problem with those things is, like, you get an Atari back then or in television or whatever, you can play, I mean, those games were expensive, but you can play anything on it. You get one of those Colecos, that's all you can play. You better like that game.
Yeah, imagine if you had all four of them that are in this picture. You'd spend $240 before taxes.
Well, in today's money, that is $187.90
for one of them.
Yeah.
So basically, after taxes, you almost had $200 for one in today's money. So yeah. I went on to tell this story. Harper was like, you had to be rich to have one. I went to this summer camp when I was a kid, not like an overnight one, just like a day one. And let's just say the kids there were generally not of, come from money. Just, it was just mostly inner city kids in New Orleans that went to the summer camp. And it's something to do for the summer when you're out of school, whatever. They had this little rich jerk off who went to this camp. And, you know, a lot of times kids would bring like they'd bring toys with them to the camps. I mean, I can remember, you know, because I mean, at lunchtime, you just sitting there and, you know, you're not, there are times when you kind of have some like free time or whatever. Well, and there's one kid, he had 3 of these. He didn't bring them every single day, like all 3, but he had the Donkey Kong one, he had the Pac-Man and the Frogger. And boy, we hated this little sucker for having these things. Cause
I believe the third one Galaxian?
I think so. Or whatever it was called.
Not Galaga, Galaxian.
Yeah.
There's slight difference.
Yeah. Right. So he had the Donkey Kong and the Pac-Man and the Frogger. And he was just a real prick. So we like really hated this little dude. But he had 3. He would bring them like all the time. One day he'd bring Donkey Kong. Next day he'd bring Pac-Man. He'd Frogger. And then next week he'd bring one. So anyway, Harper goes on. I'm telling y'all this through text. I'm like, this little rich sucker, we hated him to death. And Harper says, he must have been the only child. I have a Frogger one I bought about 20 years ago when they brought them back. So 28-year-old Harper was buying the Frogger one. Let's just say that back in 2005.
But just remember, if you're out there buying some toys, Harper wants you to stop and grow up.
So then you went on to say, man, Mike and I were only kids. Where's our toys? and I went on to say, well, this little kid at summer camp had all the good stuff. He got beaten up at one point because he just was one of these little dudes who like spouted off at the mouth, but there was no substance behind it. I wasn't a part of the beating up. I just want to make that official.
Okay, that's good to clear up.
Yeah,
we don't know what the statute of limitations is on your actions.
He pissed off a couple of brothers and they weren't having it. They already didn't like him because of how he carried himself. He made it worse by mouthing off. So anyway, let
me ask you.
Go ahead.
Not that we're asking for you to say it here because that might be a bad idea, but do you remember his name?
I don't remember this kid's name. I was actually trying to think of this dude's name last night when you sent that. I could picture him.
Okay.
I can't.
That was my next question.
He was kind of short. I mean, again, we're 8 years old, right? So
right.
How tall is an 8-year-old at that point? He was shorter than most people, most of the rest of us at that point. And he was rich, and we didn't understand what rich was at the time, if that makes sense. But let's just say we understood he had a lot more stuff than
Mike,
we did.
I don't think I understand what rich is now.
No. I'm saying, we didn't understand the concept of like what rich meant and having a lot of money. We just know he was better off than the rest of us with the way he acted too. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Now, was this a I think, well, let me back up. I think a lot of people think when they hear the term summer camp, I wish Harper was here right now. Ernest goes to camp out in the woods, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that's where you were going. So was this just in New Orleans?
Yeah, it was one of the schools that used to like basically. Well, wait, was this one? Because I went to 2 different ones. This one wasn't through one of the schools. This was through one of the parks. Let me just say it like that.
Okay.
That we went to. So yeah, but it was like I said, it was like a day thing. Monday through Friday. It wasn't. I know what you mean. That's why I said it wasn't an overnight camp at first. It wasn't something we went to.
Yeah, you're not out like.
We weren't in the
riding
woods
horses.
Right. It's just one of those things.
Swimming in the lake.
Basically, what summer camp in New Orleans was when you went back then. I don't know how the hell they would. I don't know what they do now, but you get there at 8:30 in the morning. You're gonna play some dodgeball. You're gonna play some battle ball. You're gonna play some basketball. You're gonna play a bunch of games all day long. Football. You're just gonna that type of stuff all day.
Sounds great.
Is what you do. Because there was not a pool at this camp, like 3 days a week, they would put us on a bus and we go to, they they had some kind of deal with University of New Orleans because University of New Orleans has a couple of outdoor pools. I don't know if they still do. Back then they did. And we get on a bus, go there. It was either 2 or 3 days a week. I don't remember which one. And I don't know. You go swim for 2 hours or whatever it was. Anyway, yeah, man, summer camp.
They were wearing you out so that when you came home, your parents could have a couple of hours apiece.
I think about that all the time. Like when I see these kids nowadays that can't sleep, I'm like, we wore ourselves out so much in the 80s.
We were running around like we were Ric Flair, dude.
Right. You got up, you didn't stop. By the time you got home in the afternoon, and by the time 9 p.m. hit, man, you were struggling to stay up because we went so hard during the day when we were that age.
Well, you were also, I mean, don't you think part of that is we were also outside a lot?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah.
And in our two environments, that'll take for almost similar reasons. But I mean, the humidity and heat down there and the heat here, you're just getting worn out.
Hollowed out. Pretty much. So yeah. I need to continue because this text chain exchange continued on, and I have a bone to pick with you. So
no, I was just messing with you, dude.
Hold on. At one point in this, I said, we talked about Land of the Lost on one of the Ask Harper episodes that we did.
Yeah, because we have, again, just to tell all the people, we have these very gentlemanly and scholarly discussions on our text thread. It's not. I think people think we're like, oh, did you watch Saturday Night episode? And like, did you see Boss Man? Blah, blah. That never comes up. This is this is 97. What Mike's about to talk about is like 97% of our text threads. The other is if somebody dies or if Harper sees something out in the wild.
Okay. Before I even go to what I was about to say, let me just go above the whole arcade exchange.
Because we also have an update on something from last week as well.
Last week's show, Harper says, "Oh, I saw Over the Border. I didn't think that was a real thing." I was like, "Over the Border?" I knew exactly what he meant.
He got me on that one because I don't know that I heard it like clearly come out, and I was really confused for a second, and then you were like. The good news is that there's two of us here to catch the things. So between the two of us, we're going to catch it. So if one of us is going to get it.
He said over the
border. And you got this one. Good job.
I said on the border. Yeah. Okay. So we random first text last night in the afternoon. He sends us, I guess he's in Walmart or somewhere because he sends us a picture of a bag of chips, and the brand is On the Border chips. And Doc says, "There you go, over the border." All right. So let me get back to so that's just a follow-up on last week. Now, last thing I'll say before we get into this show, I got a 5-star review and then we're gonna get into the show. So Harper on Ask Harper, which you can get on Patreon at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Somebody asked a question. I don't know how we got to this point, but we mentioned Land of the Lost. And we mentioned when it was made. Anyway, it was the mid to late 70s. They did the 3 seasons. That was the original one. And I Googled it like the week after to just look it up to see like what year and stuff. And I saw it. And then I saw where it said all of them were available on Tubi for free. So if you got Tubi, you can watch Land of the Lost. Not that you're running to do that. I put probably the first 10 minutes of the first episode on, and my wife looked and was like, "What is that shit?" And the graphics and animations are so magnificently and gloriously horrendous that it was outstanding.
So she probably looked at you with the grow up that Harper takes on with the people.
I don't know if that's what she was thinking. I think she was thinking, what the hell is that? because it's so bad.
But here, don't you think it was
so bad?
Oh yeah, I mean they were cheaply made live action TV shows for kids.
The opening of the show
with the raft and
I can't put into words how horrendous it looks. Now granted, for its time, I'm sure people were like, oh, okay, but you didn't have what you have now when it comes to graphics and whatnot. But man, you look at it and you're like, oh my God, that's bad.
You know, I think about that a lot. I'm like, how did anybody do anything before computers? And when you think about some of this stuff, it's pretty amazing.
Well,
we take for granted how easy computers make our lives on it, and terrible. Don't forget terrible. But you know, I mean, that was maybe cutting edge back then. I don't know. But yeah, you look at it today and it's like they were banging two rocks together to make this.
I asked my wife, I was like, because remember, they brought it back. This is what we were talking about on Ask Harper. They brought it back at some point in the early 80s. I know they did another version of it in the early 90s. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the original that came on mid to late 70s. They brought it back at some point in the 80s because I can remember watching Saturday morning cartoons and Land of the Lost would come on. So I remember it from there. I don't remember when it originally ran in the mid 70s. And so I asked my wife, I was like, you used to watch look, it didn't matter where you grew up. I don't want to say that, but a lot of kids, most kids watch Saturday morning cartoons. Like if you're our generation.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
Maybe not all, but most did. And then, after that.
If you had a TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Most did at that point in the early 80s, especially. So anyway.
And here's the other thing. With that, it's because that's when they were on.
Yeah, you couldn't watch them any other time. There was a point in time where there was no other time to watch cartoons. It was Saturday morning or you missed it. So if you missed Saturday morning cartoons 1 week, guess what? Oops. Your little shit ass is waiting 7 days to see it again. Kind of like the same as wrestling, right?
Very much. Very, very, very similar. Yes, yeah. I totally agree with that.
You missed 2 weeks of wrestling when we were young. You damn near missed a whole month. Which is why if you watch a lot of older shows, they show so many replays is because not everybody had a VCR on demand to be able to watch that shit. But anyway, so that was the Land of the Lost discussion. And then one other thing, this is the point I was trying to make.
So here's my question. And I'm trying to not be this isn't a rib. I'm not trying to go anywhere. But those Sid and Marty Krofft, who was the, maker of those were very British feeling. So did Sasha say back in those days when we're all watching the cartoons, we just established that our little brothers and sisters watching a different set of cartoons? Or, I can't imagine that back then there was a lot that would specifically cater or be inclusive of that environment. Because I get it. If you're not a honky like me, Land of the Lost probably looked crazy.
Well, there was Fat Albert and stuff, but if you ask her the cartoons she watched when she was a kid, she watched what was it, Rainbow Bright and Care Bears and I don't know if that was just I don't know. That's the stuff she watched. Now she'll surprise you sometimes. I can't. There was one she told me she watched. I was like, you used to watch that? I can't remember the cartoon, but yeah.
You would have to do that, try new stuff back when you were a kid, because the supplies were low and you had to kind of get out there and check stuff out and make sure you had a rotation to watch. But
you didn't try it by choice. You sat in front of the TV starting at 6 a.m., 7, 8 o'clock, whatever time you got up, and whatever came on next was what the fuck you watched.
Right.
If you didn't have cable, let me make a selection, I'll go to YouTube. It's whatever they're giving me is what I got. And to be fair, that's probably how we watched. That's not probably. That's the reason we were watching Land of the Lost. It was the next thing on.
Well, and so you and I established for 10 years on here, we didn't have cable. Would you have viable, not total, viable channels? Did you have options to watch from when you were that age? What, five maybe?
Bro, thank God I had an uncle across the street, and thank God I had my other uncle that lived in Gretna, which, as we called the West Bank in New Orleans, which has nothing to do with the West Bank overseas, to watch wrestling on. Like, if not for those two households, I would never have seen Saturday Night. Never. So yeah, when you only had basic television, as they called it, you were screwed. Flat out.
And you thought, I mean, there are so many, and you think about how the world is today, and this isn't us yelling at clouds, but like, I don't know about you, but I think if Harper was on today, he'd be shocked by this. Kids don't watch TV.
No, I think he knows because he talks about his nieces and nephews with that.
Okay. I mean, my kids do not turn on the TV to watch TV like the same way that you would consider it.
Yeah, different world.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more thing before we get into Saturday night.
Well, I got one quick thing about the toys. I was thinking about this. So, like, you really are the middle ground here on the show. So, like, Harper might send us something, but like, what? I'm 3-4 years older than Harper, maybe
Something like that.
And so today, that's nothing. We're all just dudes.
We're all just old.
We're all just old, and we're friends, and we hang out, whatever. But when you're 9, that's a big difference. When you're 11, that's a big those years make a big difference. And I think there are things that he mentions a lot of times that I'm like, I think I'd already aged out of that. You're in the middle, so you probably know what he's talking about, but you also know what I'm talking about, which is like, no, I was done. I was moved on. Like, even like our dark period in wrestling, like mine came first because I'm the oldest.
Yeah. You have a question?
But we all remember those Colecos. I also remember the green football game with the dots?
Yeah. Well, that was like the first, well, that wasn't electronic football. What'd they call that? Electronic football was the thing with the metal field. You can still buy that. I was looking at that the other day. Not that I would get it. Yeah, the football with the green dots. I remember that. Man,
I played that all the time.
It's amazing how much some dots can entertain you when you're that age, when you ain't got no other options.
When it's all you got, man, I was Sean Payton with that game, bro. I had schemes and all kinds of stuff built in and ready to go.
All right, let me finish this text thread. The last thing that happened in this text thread was Harper says, yeah, Tubi has everything. Doc follows up and says, is that Raven documentary on Prime? I give the shrug shoulders. He says, didn't mean to interrupt your Land of the Lost marathon. Now, I was watching football, but that's a whole nother topic. This is what I was talking about last week. Doc doesn't know how to use Google. He wants to use me as human Google. So I've learned now, I'm just going to stop responding when he sends questions like that. Because Google is your goddamn friend.
No, I Googled it later.
Later. You were too lazy to do it before you sent the text. So you punched into a device, is that Raven Doc on Prime, waiting for a response, but we're too lazy to punch in those same string of letters on your phone in Google or some version of AI to find that answer. Am I hearing you right?
It hit my brain when it hit my brain, and I was talking to y'all, so I figured one of you might know. And I was also looking for a little bit of, if somebody watched it, was it good?
Okay.
But I did try to go watch it, or I pulled it up last night, and you got to rent it. So, that's a severe paywall barrier for a guy like me, right?
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Let's call it down the middle. Could I have Googled that? Yes. were we already in the middle of a conversation? So I thought I would ask, and just because I was also looking to see if it was any good. So it's not like I was trying to use you as Google or rib you or anything else.
It was a rib, y'all. 100% a rib.
I don't think I have enough humor in my life these days to rib anybody about anything.
Okay. All right, I got a 5-star review to read.
Let's hear it.
This one is from, he submitted a few of these, so if you've heard this name before, you've heard it before. This is on Podcast Addict. It is from the Vagina.
Interesting name.
What? It's from the Vagina Whisperer.
This is an interesting name.
Yeah. From the Vagina Whisperer. He says, Harper is the greatness I need every Thursday night, and him reviewing Southeast Championship Wrestling would be a dream come true. Almost a Smoky Mountain redo. BTT continues to be the only podcast in my library. No doc required. Ooh,
Come
sick
on.
burn, bro. All right. Well, and then on that, what else did we have, Doc? You got anything else? Or we can talk about some wrestling. You know, Harper, you know what your fucking problem is, bro? You sit there and tell people to grow up, but then, bro, you constantly sending text messages of arcade games and all these toys you want, but you got a fucking Pac-Man clock, bro. Sounds like you don't want these to grow up. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, bro. I mean, you know, I got my action figures and I buy my wrestling figures from back in the day. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, you like concentrate hard on it. You're like mesmerized with it, bro. I mean, grow up. Fucking dumbass. Old D-Man. All right.
D-Man.
Yeah.
Way to lay down the law with an imaginary character telling a non-existent Harper to grow up.
All right. Let me get this.
Yeah.
What? You got something before I get us going? We're 30 minutes in.
No, we better get started on this wrestling.
Yeah, because you're already blown up. I can tell.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
All right. Well, this week's episode, April 2nd, 94, but we are moving along. Some of it was taped March 3rd. Some of it is from March 23rd. Weird sequence of how they did it. I mean, whatever. We see the opening tease of what we'll see today. Schiavone, Heenan, and Mean Gene. They're going to then formally open the show. Mean Gene says, I will get Flair's response to what Hogan said last week. So we'll hear from that. And then Schiavone talks Sting and Rude, and we get some comments from Bobby. And then we go to Sting, and Sting says, Rude, you're mine at Spring Stampede. Doc, it was a real quick promo. I wasn't going to play it, but you got anything from that?
No, I just standard stuff. And I mean, at this point, Sting got his, you know, for lack of a better term, got his, you know, shit in last week. So he doesn't need to say a lot more because he's got what he wanted, right?
Yeah, sure did. On that note, we then are going to roll to the first match. And boy, I know this one made you really happy. It is Pretty Wonderful versus Thunder and Lightning. And they go about 7 or 8 minutes. Just what you were looking for on a 2-hour edition of Saturday Night. Doc, any thoughts on this one? Jesus Christ.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Let's hear it.
First of all, we were talking the other day. We really are ready for the Braves to start, and I would think that that's coming soon. And yes, you're stopping on the ladies there. I see that. There's some ladies in the crowd.
I hadn't planned on it, but sure.
Okay.
They're grown, too. Those are women. Those aren't even, you know, young 20s. Like, they look...
I still think, man, don't you think they had the office workers, like, come in and seat fill or something?
I mean, no, sure, but also... Eric,
I guess women still attended wrestling back then, right?
Well, no, Eric admitted to putting plants in the audience. So, like, we already know that. But go ahead. Eric, you go to high school with him?
Man, I think you did, but he's like 70 years old, though. I know Flair's talked about this in the past, but I looked at this when Orndorff came out. How heavy do you think Orndorff's robe is?
It's got some weight to it. All those robes do if you pick them up and just, you know, put them over.
I mean,
your
those
arm.
things. Yeah, those things aren't like a little bathrobe. They look. actually sturdy.
I mean, take a comforter that you have on like a queen size bed and like drape that over your back and shoulders. Like it's probably similar to that. It's got some consistency to it.
Do that later tonight with your family. Just walk around with a comforter around like you're a wrestler and cut promos on your family.
Walk around. Just walk around the house with it on. And like your kids and wife are looking at you like,
we're going to settle this once and for all. You're going to brush your goddamn teeth.
No, just walk around with it. Your kids and wife are like, what the hell's wrong with him?
More so than they normally do because the kids,
Yep.
Schiavone is still just really into talking about Hogan. And it's just, you said this a couple of weeks ago, but it's like, it's a real weird thing that he's not on contract and we are just all over it. And so my feelings about Hogan aside, I'm going to get into this in a later segment, but it's just like, if he doesn't work here, what are we doing?
Like I said, he's basically got him by the balls at this point.
Yeah, or are we just that desperate as a promotion that it doesn't matter? Because this is the true money hemorrhaging time, I believe.
I don't think it really matters right now. Like, business is down. So what are you really hurting by talking to him and doing
got nothing
this
to lose,
thing?
basically.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose. You're already losing.
Right, that's fair. Okay. This did go on for, like, as you mentioned, for quite some time. I thought, I'm going to say it, I thought Roman was good in this match.
He's been good. You just have a problem with him because he's not a horseman, which we all said that, but he's been good.
Well, maybe the horseman thing is starting to wear off, and I'm starting to come around on his talents.
About damn time. Yes, you're correct.
I mean, we'll continue to track that and cover the event.
I was waiting on that one. Okay, sure.
Would we consider Thunder and Lightning at this point to be
high voltage
mid-card tag team? Would you say
high voltage?
Kind of, but like mid-card.
Sure. I mean, they ain't no more than that. I'll give them that. I mean, they've had a win or two here or there. We only see Saturday Night. Obviously, they're on Worldwide and other shows. So, yeah.
So they would be in a U.S. tag team title tournament, but they aren't advancing kind of team.
Or even if you had a world tag title tournament, they'd be in it, but they might get a win in the opening round, depending on how many teams are in the tournament. But yeah, they're not winning it. There's nothing wrong with the two guys in the team. Like I've said that. Don't get me wrong, bro. I mean,
nobody's getting you wrong, bro.
No, I mean there's literally nothing wrong with the guys in the team. The problem is the gimmick is just like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best way to put it, I think.
The two guys they're fine professional wrestlers. There's nothing wrong there. It's just they're coming out with capes and it's 1994.
Yeah, there is that. Now, when we get to the finish...
Yeah, I'm not going back. I'm just going to explain it.
Well...
What is it?
Orndorff, it just never gets old watching him stick people with the pile driver.
Oh, yeah, he's great. I guess I will go back since we're watching the video version. Yeah, he jumps up. He's got that little jump that just makes it look that much better.
So here's... Exactly. It's a kind of a half hop.
Yep.
And it's not over-exaggerated, but it gives it that little lift. It's the same little nuance to me as that little left leg kick that Arn Anderson does on the Spine Buster that just makes it even that much better. Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you out of that, so thanks for going back, is that you've said repeatedly on this show that the pile driver was a move you did not like taking, and it's just because there's so much that can go wrong, and you're kind of really at the mercy of the person that's, handing out the punishment. Does that hold true for like an Orndorff who really seems to have it under control?
I mean, if it's somebody like him, like you don't have a problem with it because they know what they're doing. But there's not a lot of guys in the Indies you'd want to take that from.
Okay,
I mean, at least back during my time, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think.
And during my time, there was a
Don
guy
DiBiase
who,
or something.
Jesus, that guy. During my time, there was also a guy who his neck was broken doing it.
Oh.
He's still in a wheelchair. This guy, if he's still alive, I know he was a few years ago. So, but yeah, I'm not for taking that move. Orndorff. Orndorff's got, the way he delivers it, and it's also up to you to make sure you got your hands right. But the way Orndorff delivers it is fine. I can see from him, but yeah, normally,
okay,
too much can go wrong.
Okay.
Sure. Anything else?
Sure. No, I continue to believe 10 years into this thing that even though you downplay your wrestling career, the people like to hear the perspective of you and Harper who have actually done this. I don't take bumps, no yob. But I think people like to hear that perspective on moves and how it looks and how it actually works in real life. So
I don't think they care about a mud show professional wrestler, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, it's first of all, now wait a minute. We've cultivated.
Come on, Doc, bro. You think this fucking guy, you call that a professional wrestler? Don't get me wrong, bro. He took a couple of bumps in his day, but I done seen this jackass. Ain't nothing about him says professional wrestler, bro. I mean, Boogie, nothing about you says computer technology. You know what I'm saying, bro?
D-Man, I think you're being a little harsh on the Menace here. He was a former brass knuckles champion. And I got to meet the guy who carried the trophy around once, not too long ago.
Sure.
He was your muscle, right?
No, you met my friend at my party. I don't know what you mean carry the trophy around, but
I forget what it was exactly. You said something like he remembers the trophy.
Yeah, I don't remember him carrying it around though. He did security.
I made that part up.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, pretty wonderful. Orndorff does the pile driver, and then we get Rome off the top rope for the splash and the pin, and the right team won, and that's all I had from that one. Anything else, Doc?
I think that's a good summary.
The Boss takes on Chris Phillips in the next match, and Boss runs to the ring. Phillips attacks him. Boss Man takes over quickly, hits his move for the win, slam for the win, and it was something, man. Chris Phillips looks a little weird, but Boss Man dominates. I can't call him a boss. Your thoughts? Goofy looking dude, man.
Okay, and he also charged Boss Man when Boss Man came out.
Yeah. I mean, that was probably called like that in the back. So I mean, that's.
You think?
Yeah.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, he didn't just do that on his own.
Well, we've seen some people out there that weren't, well versed in the art of all of this. So I just wanted to make sure because this guy was goofy looking and all that.
Nah, that was called in the back.
Okay.
Along with the finish that happened right after.
During this match, Heenan, who is once again just decided to score without the ball, score with the ball. If you have the ball, he's going to come steal it. He's grabbing the ball during timeouts and continuing to shoot. He calls, he says that Boss Man's real name is Buford. And then a whole bunch of other hillbilly jokes.
He's a runaway train on commentary.
But he is a force. Like we were like freaking out when Jesse came in. and how Jesse just didn't give a shit and was just jackhammer insults and all this kind of stuff. But this is just another level of everything.
It was also different. Jesse and JR had a bit of a contentious relationship on commentary. JR didn't appreciate a lot of stuff. Jesse would just dig in and keep going. Whereas with Tony, you saw it with Tony and Jesse. Tony didn't get worked up into a lather. He just kind of went with it. Not that JR was worked into a shoot. I don't mean like that. It's just that they were a lot more combative. Whereas with Heenan, Tony kind of just goes with it. Sometimes he can't even contain himself. He laughs. He at one point, it wasn't this show, it was maybe a week before or this one. Tony goes, "Bobby Heenan's arrived, everyone." I mean, so it's different. But I've said this before multiple times since Bobby Heenan came in. You could do a review of Saturday Night every week where you're just reviewing his commentary and nothing else. We'd never get through the show if we did that every week, though. Like, but if you wanted to just dedicate a show to Bobby Heenan on commentary, calling matches, you would have a lot to discuss.
Yeah. I do have some audio from him later in the show that I want you to play. So.
That's my point. It's incredible. Any other thoughts? Boss Man won there, Doc.
Nah, it was pretty what you would expect.
We get a meat and potatoes promo from Boss Man after the win where he promises Harley and Vader that justice is going to be served at Spring Stampede. Anything from that one, Doc, that you might have had?
He said that term 3 times during the interview. I was like, damn.
Yeah, he's getting his point across. Justice is going to be served.
I have a feeling, without having any reason to say this, and I've been also critical of the Boss Man, but I bet you he and Vader have a good match.
Stay tuned is all I'll say.
Okay. Because right now I'm not all that super excited about Spring Stampede, but as we've said in the past, whatever's going on in the booking, the roster usually shows up for the pay-per-view and delivers, so that's kind of what I'm banking that on.
All I want to say, it's a really good pay-per-view, and I'll leave it at that till we get to it because we will be there in a couple of weeks. You can only hear us review it at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Now, we go from Boss Man to the Spring Stampede Control Center. We get a couple of promos. I am going to play them because it is Bunkhouse Buck and Colonel Parker. Meat and potatoes, but we always listen to them. So here that is.
Now let's hear from both men.
You know, Buck, they think they're tough up there in Chicago. Let's show them how tough they are in Bucks, North Tennessee. Chicago's sick. Dustin Rhodes sick, boy. You know what your problem is? You've had everything handed to you on a silver platter with a silver spoon stuck in your mouth. I'm gonna bring you some more silver platter, boy, but you ain't gonna like what's on it. I'm gonna bring you a bunkhouse match. I'll knock you out, boy. Come on down.
Look at these two. How ridiculous do they look in front of this Spring Stampede green screen?
All of it. 100%. My note was these two old coots have found themselves the fountain of youth.
They found the fountain of youth and fountain of money late in their quote unquote career.
Coronado's City of Gold and
Jesus
Ponce de Leon or whatever fountain. Because, I mean, I believe they've said it. They were just in Smokey hanging out, just making some money and doing some shots and helping old Jimmy out and just, whatever. And now they're on pay-per-views and...
I think Cornette said, like, oh, yeah, Robert and Jimmy, they're in there winding down their careers in the ring and, they didn't expect it and out of nowhere comes this. And, I mean... they just must have just thought, holy crap, there is a God. You go from working in Smokey. We know they weren't making a lot of money. Cornette said that. And,
there wasn't a lot of money to make.
Right. And they get picked up. Like, they end up leaving. And Cornette, I think he even said, he's like, I couldn't keep him here. The WCW was throwing, all kind of money at them. They weren't making them millionaires at this point, but it was great money. For not a lot of work.
Okay. Whoa. How much you think they were making then?
In Smokey or here?
No, here. Especially Buck, because he's wrestling.
It's got to be close to 6 figures, man.
Okay, so let's say it was 100,000.
You could say it's 90. Put that in your freaking inflation calculator.
I'm pulling it up right now. We're in April. Actually, they cut this in March. 90,000. 198,586. I think they were making more. Well, I think they were making more because I think I remember in Foley's book him saying that the standard contract in WCW was like 156.
No, so that's not true. Brad was making 75 around this time. That's why I don't know if that's true.
But the standard, like if Brad was on a per night deal kind of thing, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about there, but let's just put in 156. 156 is $344,000.
Okay, well,
and remember, these two guys were winding it down in their 40s, ready to figure out what they're going to do with the rest of their life, and now they're making more money than they've ever made, other than selling territories to people that there ain't nothing to sell, and then buying them back for pennies.
But okay, you're making my point though. Even if it's not even 156, that's why I said just throw 90 in there. At 90,000 at this point in time, that's almost $200,000 in today's money. Anybody who's listening to this and us two recording it, if we were making almost $200,000 a year today, we would be like pigs in slop.
Yeah.
So you can imagine they go from Smokies in these small towns to here. And don't get me wrong, bro. I mean, these arenas ain't always packed. We know that. But they're on pay-per-view making nearly $200,000 a year in today's money, if not more. These two are ecstatic by what's happening.
100%.
Yeah. Which is why Robert Fuller, when he would sit in those booking meetings, would be like, they want to go around and talk about this and talk about that. I say, baby's got a pot roast on. That was his way of saying, fellas, y'all can keep talking, but I'm leaving.
I mean, what's better than making all that money is not having to work hard to do it.
That's right. Well, let's continue. Anyway, there was a Spring Stampede Control Center. Buck and Parker are, just cutting a promo.
And here's the thing. Dustin was kind of a decent little promo there. I'm kind of looking forward to this match too, because Dustin's been really great.
All right, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you're gonna see that match and you're gonna love it. And if you don't, it's only because you're being a curmudgeon.
Come on. You know I like wrestling.
Okay. Somebody on Patreon, I can't remember who, on in the comments of the video version a couple weeks ago said Spring Stampede is great, but of course Doc's gonna undersell it. Like, yep, that's what he's gonna do. But
okay,
we'll get there when we get there.
Soon.
Mean Gene did cover the rest of the card. Dustin did cut a promo as well. Dustin and Buck is going to be great on Spring Stampede. You can hear us review it, tinyurl.com/Patreon/BTT. And then Mean Gene covers the rest of the card as well. We go to commercial, come back. It's time for Lord Steven Regal versus Larry Santo. Doc, what do you have from this one?
Are they starting... And maybe they've done this and I didn't notice it, but I felt like I noticed it in this show. Are they starting to pipe in crowd noise and sweeten it on the booing?
I think they've been doing that for weeks.
Okay. I know they do it. We know they do it in the promos, but I feel like I heard it in the matches and it was weird.
Yeah.
But,
they've been doing it.
Okay.
This is not a new thing. It's been happening for a while.
Okay, well, can we go to 3421 and get some audio from Mr. Heenan?
Well, you got good timing because we were right there. Here it is.
Schiavone, Bishop, Zabisco. You guys all got green cards? Anybody a citizen of this country here? When you put all their names together, comes out Galakovich.
Regal holding on to the wrist lock.
Tony's like, I'm not even addressing that.
The funny thing is that would be something that would be a problem today, and Tony wouldn't touch it then.
If you said that today, you'd get fired.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a heel.
Right.
Heels can't be heels anymore. Not like that, at least. That was good, though.
I saw something on Twitter. Just this week, it was a Skandor Akbar promo. And it was, I mean, I think it was a 90s. Like, I don't, there was a lot of promotions at that point, so I'm not sure which one. But he was on there saying that Iraq was the mother country that the world would be pivoting their focus to, and like how much he loved it. And then said something in Arabic, and I was like, dude, you talk about things you couldn't do today.
Different world, man. And
they were like, but the premise or the comments were like, wouldn't this? I mean, this would be great to do today.
Some people say that, but the problem is you quote unquote. This is where people think I just want hatefulness spread on wrestling, but I don't. The problem is that the people you're triggering with those comments are just like so outraged they cry. It's a different world, man. Like, I'm not letting that work me into a shoot just because you say something that is offensive.
Well,
I grew up in a different world. I say that all the time to my kids because they'll tell me something that was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe." I'm like, we grew up in a generation that they used to tell us sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. We went from that to where we are now. Words hurting people. And I'm not saying that to say you can't, that certain thing. I don't want to say the words that I'm like, nah, you went too far.
I don't think
like,
anybody's suggesting.
There are, hold on, because people will take this out of context. I'm not saying that there aren't words that shouldn't be said. There are words that you say, if you say it in front of somebody's face, you need the piss slapped out of you. And I won't say what those words are. You should know what they are.
Right.
So let's be clear. I'm talking about in the context of a wrestling show where somebody says something that offends you and you're outraged and you go to social media. Like, I don't know, man. I just grew up in a different world, I guess. And I'm mainly talking about things that Heenan said, or like you said, what Akbar said. I mean, we heard Cornette. Cornette has said the line that got him fired from NWA on television back in the day. Like, so that's the proof I'm looking for. That's what I'm talking about. Cornette said that chicken joke on television in the late 80s, early 90s. And then he says it again 30 years later, and it's a major problem. That's what I'm talking about. Different worlds. Nobody batted an eye back then. People might have batted an eye back then, but they didn't have social media to run and get somebody fired for.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make. And then it's like, this is the thing. It's goddamn wrestling.
Right. So what you're saying is, and I'm tracking you here, like, nobody is ever suggesting that you should come out and drop the N-word. Come on.
Right. Like, you do that, you're going to get your ass whipped, man.
Right. And rightfully so.
Yes.
And we don't need to, like, use derogatory homosexual or other ethnic slurs. But can you lean into it without saying it?
Man, you can. Here's the argument I always have about what we're talking about. We know wrestling's entertainment. We know television, whether it's a movie or a television show, is also entertainment. It kills me that you can make movies about certain things still, and you can say certain things in movies that kind of get a pass, but in wrestling, oh, we can't do that. Why? It's literally almost the same thing. One of them, you just fake fighting. Again, I'm not advocating you call somebody the N-word unless you want your ass whooped.
Right.
Or Harper, what Harper was talking about on Ask Harper Part 4 with that movie. I can't even remember what it was. I'm not going to say the phrase he mentioned. It might have rhymed with Mutt Pirate.
Whoa.
What movie was he talking about? That it was said like multiple times.
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you.
Right. The point is, like, it's just we're in a different world, man. We're in a different world. I'm not advocating hate towards any group of people. I'm saying in the form of entertainment.
And in a lot of ways, because we're the guys up in the balcony at the Muppets. But in a lot of ways, the world is a better place. That we don't have those things in real life and people talking that way, and we've made it unacceptable to do that.
My point is,
man, I think it's too far when you're talking about just wrestling.
My point is, and this is different because Heenan's a commentator, and if you have a wrestler say some things that are like controversial, and he's a heel, that's okay, kind of, because if we want the face to whip his ass eventually, he gets his comeuppance. Like, isn't that part of it? Again, nobody's advocating that somebody with a swastika get on AEW or WWE television and drop the N-word. I ain't saying that.
Right.
At all. That to me, that's a bridge too far.
Right. But but what you are saying is that there's some middle ground between what you just said you can't do and what happens today where nobody's doing anything.
Right. It's just bland.
Because the
whole thing of being a heel was they used to offend people, if you really think about it. Like heels in the 80s, they would offend people. That was like their goal because they would piss you off.
Well, and I think that's
Cornette
why
saying Baby Doll shops in the Bull Moose department,
bro,
and Arn telling Baby Doll the only place for women is in the kitchen and making babies. Like, let's not act like that didn't happen. And all of us are old enough to remember it that are listening to this show. And he was a heel. You say those things nowadays, can you imagine the outrage on national television? This is the point I'm making.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you here. So we're on the same side of this. I think it's one of the reasons, other than just his freakish persona, that Brock Lesnar gets over with like Luttrell and stuff. It's like
you don't give a damn.
He didn't give a shit.
Yeah, well, he's got FU money too. That's that old thing, Harper always talks about. We all talk about. You got FU money, you can get away with a lot of stuff. It's the people who don't have the FU money that really can't get away with it. But yeah, certain people like him, they can get away with it.
Yeah. So he's more not like, but he will do more dastardly things than most because, like you said, he can.
Well, we just offended a couple people out there. I know of a couple people who are offended right now by what we just talked about.
How is that offensive?
Oh my God! If you saw my mentions,
I mean, I'm literally confused.
Somebody will convince themselves of what I just said as me trying to spread hate, and I got a name in my head. I've seen this dipshit on Facebook and on Twitter. Will convince himself that is our way of saying to spread hate.
Absolutely not. But the word dipshit's always funny to me. That was a good one.
It's true.
There's no part of us that is saying that. Like, we just said, hey, the world is a better place than it was when we were kids for a lot of things. Like, you can sit here and go, oh, remember back in the day we used to blah, blah. Hey, the world is a more tolerant place than it used to be, and more people have opportunities. And, oh, by the way, guess what? Still got work to do to in the world to make it a better place going on. We're just saying you got to have something for the heels to do in a wrestling context so that I'll actually care when they get beat up. That's it.
Yep.
That's all that's being said is they got to do something bad enough that makes us mad enough at them, or like, boy, they need to get theirs for the whole thing to work. And to be honest, in my opinion, that's the basic premise of it all. And if you can't get the basic premise of wrestling, then everything else is sort of a moot point. And it's why they just do moves.
Yep. That's why it's become sanitized in many
So I'm
ways.
going to be the first to go on record, but probably not the last, because, we have a lot of smart people listening to us out there, to say Mike in no way was promoting any sort of anything against anybody outside of a wrestling worked context. Full stop.
Yeah.
See, we got each other's back here.
Well, speaking of
I know
heels,
you and I argue a lot, but I didn't have to ask you to look up Google for that. So,
well, Regal wins with a butterfly suplex. If we can move along, as we are
sure
going to go 3 hours today at the rate we're going. We then go. Speaking of heels who say things that piss people off, let's go to Sir William now in Lord Steven Regal after Regal wins with like a butterfly suplex of sorts. And Regal's got some words to say that would, like I said, piss most people off. Here it is.
All right, Sir William, you should be a big hit at the Spring Stampede in Chicago when your man, Lord Steven Regal, is challenged by Flying Brian for the World Television title.
Mr. Hooker, he has got his lordship rather vexed going to WCW demanding a match last week. I don't know what got into that
What
chap.
are you bubbling? Babbling.
Talking of his lord.
Whatever. Here he is, Lord Steven Regal.
After my recent encounter with you, Pillman, you showed your true American sportsmanship. When I stepped up the intensity, instead of staying and fighting like a man, you fled the ring and attacked poor William when his back was turned. And in my defense of William, I am classed as some kind of barbarian in your people's eyes, when in fact all I did was stand up for my man, something that you people know nothing about. You have shown your true colors, just as your hero, Buddy Ryan, showed on the football field when he punched his own coach, as this Nancy Kerrigan girl screamed and cried like a little baby when she got a silver medal. If you were deserving of a gold one, you would have one round your neck. Now, Pillman, you've got your chance because you whined and cried to WCW to fight me for the world's television title. You've got your chance to be the big American hero, and I know each and every person in America will be cheering for you. At Spring Stampede in Chicago, there'll be a lot of tears shed. Pillman, come prepared. But if you have tears, prepare to shed them. I'm going to expose you for what you are.
All right, Lord Steven Regal, if anybody would know about a crybaby, well, you said that.
God, the booing just ruined that because that was a really good promo. He's talking about Buddy Ryan punching his own coach in the sideline and then Nancy Kerrigan crying. It was good stuff. By the way, that attack happened in January when what was it, Tanya Harding's ex-husband and friend or whatever, I can't remember, took out the knee of Kerrigan after a practice session.
That was crazy, by the way.
God, that was nuts.
Things that would break the internet today.
Break it. The space-time continuum of social media would explode. And then two days later, everybody would forget.
Yeah, but back then we would have let her, back then she just like hosted Saturday Night Live. Here's your consolation prize for getting your knee destroyed.
But yeah, that
was a great line though, and that was my take, is that Regal's soft spoken on this. So exactly what you said, when they roll in the booze, I'm like, now I got to really focus on what he's saying versus just listening.
Yep. He's just so condescending and so good though. Like when you listen to him, I mean, his facial expressions, everything. I can't believe they tried to bring him in as a babyface, because when you watch him as a heel, it's like he's two different people.
Mm-hmm.
He has all the moves as a babyface, obviously, same guy, but you get him as a heel, it's like, God, this guy's good. He's great.
Very.
Yep. All right, Doc. Any other thoughts on it?
I mean, again, starting to look forward to him and Pillman.
Yep. All right, so we go to commercial.
But I'm sure I'll undersell it, you know.
Of course. We go to a commercial, come back, and then we just watch this video package of Vader just beating the dog doo-doo out of people. I mean, they show the cactus replay. He is just whooping up folks. I mean, just clubbing guys in the head. It's a vicious... It puts over Vader and how just brutal he could be in the ring against guys. What were your thoughts on seeing this highlight reel of Vader just beating the dog piss out of people?
Now, to be clear, I like highlight reels and Lance Storm and Chris Jericho to Rockin' America at the local mall in Morristown or whatever. I like highlight packages and sizzle reels. I don't like recaps. So, yeah, they cut this really well. I thought it looked good because they made Vader look like a menace to society, if you will.
That's nice. It's also the first time we've seen this package on this show, so that kind of puts it over even more.
Sure.
But he's just whooping up on folks, man, just clubbing guys. It is something to watch in this video package. That, like, we just saw that choke slam. That was fine. That, those Samoan drops are fine. But man, when he's got those guys in the corner or he's throwing those lariats, it's like, Jesus God, this guy's killing people.
Right about now, isn't that when in an alternate universe here is when Cactus's ear comes off?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. From there, we go to a Vader promo. Did you have anything from this? I was just going to talk about the notes I have from it.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific other than it was good and that Ray Traylor's in danger.
Well, they mentioned they shouldn't call Boss Man the Boss. They should call him the Hitman because Vader would be world champion if not for the Boss. Basically, like blaming Vader not being the world champ right now on Boss Man being a hitman in Super Brawl, at Super Brawl, I should say.
So we're infringing on his old gimmick in WWF, and now we're infringing on Bret Hart?
Yeah, kind of, because they did use the term hitman. That's not something I made up. That is exactly what was said. So it's pretty good. And, I got to say, man, Boss Man for being a babyface, it kind of was a little heelish. Even though I understand two wrongs don't make a right, and Vader is a heel as well, it does make you wonder if Boss Man doesn't take some liberties and with Vader, where would we be? Mike, why y'all talking about it like it's real, bro?
Man, for a minute there, I thought this shit was real, bro.
Yeah. Well, that goes to show you.
that was really good. You had me believing for a second.
It goes to show you when you treat it like it's real, you kind of get lost in it for a second and go, wait. It really does go to show you, like, when you do it right, how you can be not fooled, but you can suspend that disbelief.
There you go. I was lost in it. Land of the lost, bro. I was out with the slee stacks.
Jesus. All right. Well, that's nice, Doc. All right. Let's continue. We are going to go to the next match. It is Bunkhouse Buck versus Eric Watts. Bunkhouse Buck continues to come out to Steve Austin's music, a.k.a. the Hollywood Blondes music, which it is a weird thing to see him come out to that. But again, we had the Mauler come out to that too for the weeks he was here. So they're just spreading it around because they don't have music for Buck at this time. It doesn't fit, Jimmy Golden, a.k.a. Bunkhouse Buck, but I'm sorry. We do mental gymnastics when it comes to Golden and Buck, so whatever. Doc, let me go to you. Oh, boy, Eric Watts. I really like him as a person. Man.
Like him as a person? You go to high school with him? Come on, bro.
It's hard, bro. I listened to him on what's his name? Wolfie D's old show, and he's a good dude. Like, you listen to him talk about this era, he is completely self-aware of what he was dealing with when he's there, when his dad is there. So, like, he understood the hate. Let's say it like that. Like, he fully realizes what he was put into. And then for him to talk about, like, even beyond that, when his dad is gone, like, it's hard to not like Eric Watts as a person when you listen to him. That's all I'm saying. And
Yeah,
but
you said old show. Is that show gone now?
I think Wolfie D's not doing his show anymore. I think.
And these podcasts come and go quick. You better listen to them when they're around.
Not everybody can last a decade. That's no shot on against anyone else. Just saying. But anyway, what were your thoughts on this one?
Heenan starts talking about the pay-per-view. And he says, so it's a bunkhouse match. You can wear anything you want, right?
Sure.
And, well, that's what Schiavone says. Schiavone's going to play the straight guy here and say, yep, sure. And Heenan goes, well, so he could come to the ring wearing a suit of armor. Or, I guess he could come to the ring wearing a T-back.
Jesus.
And that broke Schiavone.
Jesus.
Remember when they called him a T-back?
Yeah. Do you want to explain? Won't you explain what that is?
A thong? Whale tail?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So my question on this was last week, you mentioned the trophy, but I didn't hear anything on it this week.
Yeah. Whatever.
Are we being airtight here?
No. They're also recording 60 million shows between Worldwide and Pro, and
okay,
God knows where that ended up. Who knows? The whole trophy thing might not have was supposed to make it into the show, but it did.
Oh, that's fair. That's always a possibility.
I'm making that up.
Always a possibility.
But yeah. You good? Or you want me to go to the finish?
Yeah, let's go to the finish because I thought it was pretty good. Yeah,
so let me go back a little bit. Watts drops a big elbow on Buck's head, but Colonel Parker gets on the apron and tries to break the STF when Watts puts it on Bunkhouse Buck. It appears Buck loads the glove, and Buck knocks out Watts and gets the win. Right guy won, as much as I like Eric Watts as a person. After the match, though, Buck is about to hog tie Watts, but Dustin Rhodes sticks his nose in Buck's business and runs him out of the ring. What'd you think about that as they build up to Spring Stampede?
I mean, it feels like a good, normal way to get ourselves ready for pay-per-view.
Yeah, I like the finish.
Yeah, it makes sense leading us into this thing.
Jimmy Golden and Fuller are just two big bastards, man. God.
They are huge.
It's like a basketball team out there. Just, wow. But, there was that.
And then, like, Austin's 6'2", and, like, so they get the Bunkhouse group going, and, like, Austin's no midget.
Right. Just big dudes, bro. All right. We go to commercial, come back. It's time for Ricky Steamboat versus Paul Diamond. I don't know if I've talked about this much lately, but thank God Steamboat comes out to the Dragon music and not the Family Man thing.
The Family Man song, was that on the CD?
Yeah. Ricky Steamboat, the Dragon. Crockett read the lyrics of that and several others on some of the shows he did with us, and the Steamboat one, the lyrics just like, oof. Anyway.
I would imagine.
Yeah. All right. Thoughts on the match, Doc, if you have any.
Well, we were supposed to have Booker T here, but he pulled out of the match.
Sure. That's my comments. Yeah, something I'm not getting. I don't think that's going anywhere. So I don't remember it going anywhere.
Okay.
So I don't really have a comment. Sometimes they just do things on these shows just to do them, and nothing's ever said. Just case in point, the whole trophy thing that you talked about. I don't know if we ever hear about that again on Saturday night. To be honest with you,
Jesus, that'd be like fucking Barry Horowitz going out for coffee and never coming back.
That's what I'm saying.
I still need to know. I still need to know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't have a comment because I don't think
just because I forget things in the moment because I'm getting old. I can't let things go. Just like that building that we were talking about last week. I need to know. I need closure on it because now it's wormed its way in my brain.
Google is your goddamn friend.
Okay, I'm gonna go Google some things.
Or ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot.
Now I will say this to all the people wondering out there. I do use ChatGPT.
He just don't know how to use it when it comes to bugging me, which is why I say it's a work. He's ribbing me.
No, I'm not ribbing you.
Yes, you are.
I have the only time I have ever been less than 1,000% honest with you was just a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to you on the night of your party about football, just trying to gauge whether or not you were at home or you knew about that. You were texting me while I was on my way to your house, but you didn't know.
I had a feeling it was possible.
That was the only time.
Bro, I think you were shuttled into this front room of the house that day. She thought I was in here, didn't realize I was in the bathroom.
Oh.
Like I said, she couldn't pull off the surprise because it had already been ruined.
Well, we knew that.
But we already talked about, but yeah.
But we were all in this little room all crammed together, and then we were meeting each other, Harper and I, and
I think
we already. That's a weird concept, by the way, just everybody, because you already I know Harper,
but you ain't never met him in person.
But you ain't never met him, so now you're standing there and you're like, hi, wait, we got to introduce ourselves after 9 years of doing, being friends.
And then you got
weird.
And then you got the women with you, so that's the other part too.
Well, I will say this: Lady Harper's great in those situations because she's very outgoing, and Mrs. Doc actually is too. So they were fine.
Yeah, they're both extroverts.
Two cavemen like me and Harper that are going to struggle in all situations where we have to deal with other people.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a legitimate question here to you. And this is not a rib, and it's not me trying to...
About this match?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not about... It's about Hogan, but it's not about Hogan.
Okay.
It seems like it is a terrible idea to continue to talk about Hogan and Flair while Steamboat's actually in the ring and we still have a pay-per-view in a couple of weeks to sell. Am I wrong about that?
Say it again. So what's your question?
Am I wrong to say that it's a terrible idea for them to be talking about Hulk Hogan right now and Flair
when you got this pay-per-view to
sell?
When you got the pay-per-view to sell.
When you got the pay-per-view to sell, just like last time, they pulled Flair out of the match, and it's like, but that's what's going to sell the pay-per-view. Now you're downgrading Steamboat and elevating Hogan. On a look, I don't like Hogan, but I get it. If you have access to Hogan, he's an international superstar, so you're going to use him over Steamboat. I get that. But you've already committed and told us that it's Steamboat and Flair. You need to do the best you can do to get that thing some buy rates.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing they're doing, it's weird because then they're talking about Hogan's going to be there. They've invited him. Well, you're going to hear that in a minute, so let me not go that far. But yeah, there's a lot of Hogan talk for a guy who's not wrestling.
Right, 100%.
And you don't really need that as much because you've had a couple of interviews with him, and then you're going to show highlights of the interview after this match. It's like, we know Hogan's around. You'd have to be,
I don't like it, but I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, and I get why they're doing it. But to me, you need to do it separate from Steamboat because it's not good.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Steamboat's just sacrificial lamb in this thing, even if it's that, but whatever, we'll see.
He's a lame duck for sure.
Yeah. All right. Any thoughts before I go to
be honest,
finish?
he deserves better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just you had the trilogy of matches. They've had, probably thousands of matches over the years, and he's kind of like the third wheel of the relationship. Steamboat hits the crossbody and gets the win. But then they play Family Man after he wins instead of the Steamboat Dragon music. So I mentioned that a second ago, but we get the Ricky Steamboat the Dragon. Not going to play it because YouTube wouldn't like that.
No, they wouldn't.
All right. So, Doc, we then go to highlights of the interview from last week from the set of Thunder in Paradise. I know you hate or love highlights, so I'll let you comment. What are your thoughts on the highlights of the interview from last week with Hogan talking about Flair?
Nothing. He talked to Nicholas.
All right. Then we go to Ric Flair, who's back in center stage, and let's see what he's got to say. Ricky Steamboat is going to interrupt this thing. Here that is.
Well, Ric Flair, I think it's abundantly clear what Hulk Hogan has on his mind.
Yeah, it sure is. Can you imagine a man in Hollywood, a movie star, or whatever he is, trying to gain recognition again through talking on a television camera to the world's heavyweight champion? What are you going to do, Ric Flair, when those 24-inch pythons run wild on you? Well, let's go back a little earlier in the comments when you said that when you laid your son down to bed, he looked into your eyes and he said, "Daddy, can you beat Ric Flair?" Well, Nicholas, if you understand English at your age, the answer is yes. You may wish, you may hope, and you may dream that in yesteryear you are the best. The bottom line is, Nicholas, I can beat your dad just like that. You got it? Just like that. And let's go one step further. Since coming up at the Stampede, I'm wrestling the great Ricky Steamboat. Hogan, maybe you ought to come first class. I'll send you a ticket. I'll send a Learjet. How about sitting ringside with Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, and all my other entourage, and watching firsthand as the Nature Boy does what he does best, and that's defend the world title and win another world title match. In other words, Hogan, why don't you come to Chicago and come to the victory party, brother?
Come on down. In all due respect, Ric Flair, this all might be a little premature. This celebration might be coming a little too early.
Now.
Oh, just a second, Ricky.
There you go again. There you go again. There you go again, Nature Boy. There you go again. And what I'm trying to tell you, wait a minute, Gene. What I'm trying to tell you is there you go again, putting the cart before the horse. Your match with me has not taken place, and you're out here telling everybody about your victory party with all your buddies. Barkley, Jordan, now you invite Hulk Hogan. Who do you think I am? Some kind of pushover? My track record speaks for itself. I earned this spot, and I'm going to wrestle you on the 17th and take that gold from your waist. You know what? You're right. I was out of line, and I was out of place. Can you imagine inviting Hogan to the party when all I have to do, as a matter of fact, Gene, let's put something together in the next half hour. Next week, right here, I'll invite you to sit in the front row right over there. And Hogan, you and your kid, turn on the TV. You watch firsthand too, because you, Steamboat, can sit in the front row. Maybe you have forgotten what it's like to be close to greatness, pal. Maybe you have forgotten what it looks like to see greatness in action. Next week, right here, give me a match. The Nature Boy will be in the ring. And pal, I would take the time out of my schedule to watch it firsthand. Tasted greatness before, Flair. I've had that gold around my waist, and it was that man right there that I beat. I've tasted greatness, and I know what it feels like to walk that aisle. And I'm going to accept that invitation. Ric Flair, I'll be here, eyes open, ears open, mind just a thinking on every move you make here next week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can promise you this. If it can be done, we will get an opponent for the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And, of course, the steamer, Ricky Steamboat, will be ringside to watch it firsthand. More exciting Saturday night when we return here on TBS.
Damn, Doc, that was great. Flair was outstanding right there. He says you're trying to gain. I mean, he's just. Flair's like, there's no doubt I can beat your dad, Nick, as he talked about Hogan's kid. And He offers to send Hogan a ticket as he defends at Spring Stampede. He invites Hogan to the victory party. Steamboat's pissed because he's like, how are you already booking the victory party? Who do you think you are inviting people to that? Like, I'm just some, chump that can't get the belt off your waist. That was phenomenal. I actually thought Steamboat was still kind of like just pushed to the side, but I don't know. Flair was really good there. What were your thoughts?
I agree, and I think that was really, really good. And I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at last week. It's like Flair was sort of struggling in the sense of, he's better as a heel. And now he's dancing with Steamboat and Hogan, if you will. So he's definitely going to bring the A game. I thought Steamboat was really good there. Like, he fired up and was like, bruh. So I thought Steamboat was great there. And that's not always the case, but he can, every once in a while really turn in a good promo. And he did right there. Man, Flair was talking about his kid, though. I thought we didn't talk about families, bro.
You always say that. Only because Arn said that on his podcast years ago. A lot of people, but Hogan brought up his kid, so, it's part of the process. You're going to bring up your kid, well, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, and Flair's like, I can be Hogan just like that.
Yep. Well, we'll see where this goes.
Won't that be a problem? Because no matter how much we don't want to be, we're still a Southern promotion. And Flair, no matter if he's heelish or not, Flair's their guy. I'm sure we'll talk about that more when we get there.
All right. Well, let's continue on that note. Let me get to the next thing because you're going to love this because you weren't here for this next bit. You were gone when Steve Keirn showed up and said he had a surprise.
Yeah, this is my first laying eyes on this wonderful mullet he's throwing down. Oof.
Well, Harper, because I know you didn't listen to it, you know how we give out the Rolex and the Toot Toot and all that?
Yeah.
Harper gave Steve Keirn the Rogaine Award of the Week.
It is wild because he's got like the equalizer mullet, but he is bald.
Well, we had a full-length discussion about, Jesus Lord, the whole gimmick of the Fabulous Ones showing up in 94, but you're going bald. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
That was my question is that there's no doubt that Steve Keirn is a legend and, all of that. But it's like, I couldn't help but think, like, what are we doing?
Well, we had a lengthy discussion about that. So
okay.
You're correct. Let's go to Mean Gene now, who is talking to Steve Keirn. We see him back, and let's see if he delivers on his surprise.
Here on WCW Saturday Night, my guest at this time, tag team specialist superstar Steve Keirn. For weeks now, Mr. Keirn, you promised us we were going to be seeing your tag team partner. I don't see anybody.
Patience, Okerlund. In a few minutes, you're going to see my partner with the rest of the world.
I understand that when you made the announcement, all of a sudden a lot of applicants started ringing your bell, so to speak.
That's right. I may as well have been on telegraph, telephone, everything that you could be on advertising-wise, because immediately I started getting phone calls from good wrestlers, great wrestlers, and not so good wrestlers, but the man was here just like I said. He fit into the tuxedo just like I said, and he'll get the job done just like I'm saying.
But let's talk about his credentials. Is he a big man? Has he held any titles?
Patience, Okerlund, patience. When you see the man, you're going to recognize the man. You're going to recognize not only that he is one of the greatest tag team specialists, but he's a former champion, and he's on the way to being a new champion.
Well, the confidence is something else. Some people, I guess, would say that confidence or arrogance might be considered a bad attitude, and I'd have to say that...
Bad attitude. I like that, Okerlund. Bad attitudes. Matter of fact, from now on, you can call me and my partner Bad Attitude. I like that.
That'll be no problem at all for me. Bad Attitude. Steve Keirn on his way to the ring to team up with his new tag team partner. Let's get upstairs.
By the way, Doc, I don't think we pointed this out when Keirn was here a couple weeks ago. Steve Keirn is 44 years old right here. I don't know if that matters to you as you evaluate what you're looking at, but he's 44 in the Fabulous Ones gimmick.
Man, that is old guy at the club, isn't it?
I had that exact same thought. Like I said, we talked about it for probably 10 minutes straight, maybe a little longer, about just how dated this gimmick was in 1994.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And I think he could, and here's the thing, I think he could be interesting positioned differently.
Yeah. He could. I mean.
But that hair is a definite issue.
Well, Mean Gene says, for weeks you promised to reveal your tag partner, and Keirn says he's had tons of people contacting him because everybody wants to be his teammate, and Mean Gene asks who it was, and he says, Okerlund, sounds like you're accused of it ends with Mean Gene saying, Keirn has a bad attitude, and Keirn says, that's a good name. Call us that from now on. And Keirn goes to the ring doc and gets on the microphone looking his age or older. And he introduces his tag team partner. You want to tell the people who comes out?
Yeah, it's a beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Oh, man. I can't talk bad about this now because Bobby Eaton's his tag partner. I'm not saying nothing bad about Bobby, man. I refuse to do it.
I know.
I'm going to do some mental gymnastics, but, Bobby Eaton's got bills to pay, and they throw this gimmick on him. That's my comments.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, this is what happens a lot of times with these guys. They want a job, so they stick with it, right?
I mean, we all do things at shoot jobs that would probably not do if we weren't at a shoot job, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, I got to tell you, I didn't even know this ever happened. So this is all a new thing for me.
I don't think it's very long-lived, but I don't remember. So that's my comments on it. And let's just stay tuned. No spoilers. If anybody out there remembers this, well, we'll get there when we get there. And if there's nothing to get to, then that's so be it. On that note, bad attitude. Keirn and Eaton are taking on Brian Armstrong and Bobby Walker. That's hard work, Bobby Walker, that is. Doc, I don't really have much from this because it ain't too long. That's what she said. Your thoughts before I go to the finish.
No, I think you can go to the finish.
Yeah. We get a double face bump type maneuver by, I think they used to call that a flapjack, by Eaton and Keirn, and Bad Attitude get the win in their debut as a tag team. That feels funny to say, but I just said it. So there's that as Keirn struts after. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't talk bad about these dudes, but man, let's just say it's 1994 and we're past this type of gimmick, I think, here and now.
Well, and even if we're not past this kind of gimmick, they are.
Well, okay, that's a great point. No disrespect to either one of them because we really like both of them. We love Bobby Eaton. It's just this ain't happening at this moment. One guy is balding with a mullet. We're past it, man. We're past it. We're past it, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, Eaton is a member of the Blue Bloods. I get totally. I actually didn't mind that at all. But Eaton is a member of Bad Attitude with Keirn, brother. I'm sorry. That's all I'm gonna say.
When you break out the brother, you know it's gonna be
right. It's the same thing I say in the back. Like I talk about, like, you get wrestlers in the back and they're like in the locker room and they start brother in each other. And I always tell Harper this, like, when they start brother in each other, I never look at that as a positive thing. Like, it's like, okay. Like, especially after a match. Oh, brother. Oh, God, okay. Y'all about to blow each other and fillet each other right now. So, yeah. Anyway, no disrespect to Keirn and Eaton there. It's just What are we doing? All right, let's continue. We get a video package of the Great Muta because we know he's taking on Steve Austin at Spring Stampede. We then go to Steve Austin versus Tanaka-san, which is actually Pat Tanaka. It's another tune-up match for Austin as he's going to battle Great Muta. Doc, thoughts from this one?
Isn't he really from Honolulu?
I don't remember. You mean Honolulu, as Harper says?
There you go. That's it.
Bruh, what's the one he said? Somebody caught this on the last show because I saw the comment, or 2 weeks ago.
He was born in
Craig Walston
Honolulu.
said it. Remember when he said there was a mural? He was who was on the mural at the Mexican restaurant he went to?
Oh, I remember.
Okay,
I remember there being one.
Apparently we missed it. He said moral instead of mural, and I got to go back and listen because I don't remember hearing moral.
Yeah,
but we're becoming so it's like one of those things where once you stare at something so long, you don't see what's there.
We need both of us on duty, but we also need all of you on duty to help us catch these things because we got a lot going on during these shows, and he's throwing. Harper's a volume shooter. He's putting a lot out there.
Yeah. So apparently, I gotta go back and listen, but
okay.
Apparently, he said moral instead of mural, but we knew what he meant.
Okay.
Hey, these things happen so fast on the show sometimes that you don't even realize it. And so, shout out to Craig Walston for that one.
And sometimes, I'm looking down at my notes. What's next? Just trying to stay straight on everything. And so, we don't catch everything.
I got
you.
Notes open, timestamps. I got the video I'm running. It's a lot. So occasionally you miss moral for mural.
Can you give me 133.33?
Oh, we're almost there. Do we need audio?
No.
Okay. What are we looking for?
This is disrespectful.
What Austin does when he slaps him?
Yes. No, afterwards.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. When he does the, what is he trying to insinuate?
The bow.
Yeah. Like a Japanese bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a heel.
No.
Yeah. He's supposed to do that, All right. Like I said, another tune-up match as Austin prepares for Muta at Spring Stampede. Doc, anything else? That's the disrespectful slap I thought you were talking about when he pops the hell out of him in the corner. Anything else?
During this match, man, Austin ate a power bomb from Tanaka.
Oh, they weren't. This was competitive. They did like 12 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Like
Heenan was like,
this wasn't short.
Heenan thought it was over at one point and was like freaking out.
Yeah. Well, in the end, Austin does the leg lock, which Harper made an astute observation last week. Tanaka's basically pinned while he's in the leg lock, but they call it a submission. So there's that. And that was my note from this one, Doc. Any thoughts on the finish as Austin wins?
Yeah, you can win two ways, right?
I mean, kind of. But if you watch, once he's in the leg lock for a few seconds, he starts getting his shoulders up. But at first, his shoulders are pinned. Anyway, let's go now to Steve Austin and Colonel Robert Parker on the mic after Austin's big win.
Austin, United States heavyweight champ, tuning up on these Japanese opponents in preparation for his meeting, his title defense against the Great Muta 2 weeks from this Sunday night at the Spring Stampede in Chicago. Colonel Robert Parker, Stunning Steve, gentlemen, come on in. Colonel, before we get to the champ, I've got to ask you about Bunkhouse Buck and the natural Dustin Rhodes. He ran you off.
No, he did not run me off. What he did, he fell right into my trap. I brought Buck in here to do a job on him. Now you've done the worst thing you could do, and that's rile Buck up, because you're sure to get the fire beat out of you at Spring Stampede.
All right, Colonel, I see you've got an attaché with you. Anything of significance in there?
That right there, that suitcase you're looking at, get your hands off of that. That suitcase right there is the most important suitcase on the face of this earth. You might as well say this here suitcase is carrying the gold, Gene.
All right, Stunning Steve Austin, the big one for you, and I see you've knocked off another Japanese opponent this week, and as I understand, more to come.
More to come. I can't thank I can't thank Colonel Parker enough for bringing the competition to me. But before we go on to the Great Muta and the United States title at Spring Stampede, let me just tell Ric Flair, the man who slights me in every interview he makes, the man who's ducking me right now because of a DQ match with me and Ricky Steamboat, that I'm not facing Ric Flair. That's not right, Ric Flair, and you know it. I am the #1 contender, whether you think so or not. Moving on to the Great Muta, Spring Stampede. Muta, I don't know a whole lot about you. I know you're a great wrestler, and by the same token, you know I'm the United States champion. The same rule book they handed you when you stepped off the plane is the same rule book I threw in the trash can. So at Muta, Spring Stampede, you better be at your best, because you can bet your bottom dollar that Stunning Steve will be.
All right, I thank you very much, gentlemen. Stunning Steve Austin, 2 weeks from this Sunday night in Chicago at the Spring Stampede.
Dude, first off, Colonel Parker popped me when he said, you got Buck riled up. I thought that was a phenomenal line from him.
And slapping the fire out of somebody.
Yeah. The second thing, you can't tell me if Austin is still here, he is going to be a WCW World Champion. Like,
we're just, why would you ever say he couldn't cut promos? That was great.
You're talking about Bischoff when he said that?
Yeah.
Dude, do you think Bischoff has like selective memory or something? Because Austin, his entire time, has never been a bad promo. He's gotten better, but he's never been bad since he came in. So where... I don't remember exactly when Bischoff said this or if it was taken out of context, but why does he think that Austin was not a good promo?
I don't know.
Like, he's perfect for WCW.
That I like the line about the rule book. You brought it when you got off the plane. I threw it away.
But I mean, this promo is outstanding. He addresses Flair and basically like puts him on notice. I'm the #1 contender to that title. And then turns his attention to Muta, which he should, because that's the next match. But this dude is world champion material. And I know that's easy for us to say at this moment because we know what he became. But he's not, like, I don't get the whole... Do you remember even Bischoff's exact like quote or whatever, or how he said it?
No.
But he did say something to the effect of Austin wasn't that good of a promo back then.
I don't know. I think Austin has said, hey, I probably needed to go, and it was obviously worked out for me. And Bischoff was like, yeah, and I probably needed to do it differently and didn't know what I was looking at. I think they both kind of took a step to the middle.
Okay. I guess, shit happens, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, this was a great promo from Parker talking about Dustin riling up Buck. You riled up Buck. Boy, if that don't sound country. And then Austin cutting a promo talking about Flair and how he should be the #1 contender to Flair's title all the way through to Muta. I thought it was good stuff, so we will keep the show moving. We are going to the next match. It is Cole, who is replacing Ron Simmons, versus Bagwell. Supposed to be Simmons. Versus Bagwell, that is. Simmons does come out with Cole, though, during the introductions. Doc, I'm going to fast forward as to when the actual match starts because they do the introductions, then they go to commercial and come back. As I do that, Schiavone wants to know why Simmons isn't wrestling, and Heenan asked Schiavone if he could handle things while Heenan walked to ringside to ask Simmons what happened and why Simmons isn't wrestling. Bobby is just a clown in so many ways, in the most respectful way. And Simmons points to his arm being hurt, and that's why he can't wrestle. And Simmons basically says, it's Bagwell's lucky day.
Yeah.
Doc, let me go to you, get your thoughts on this match. It starts with about, 8 minutes left in TV time.
153.50.
Okay. Audio or no?
No.
Okay. What are we looking for here?
You know.
What? Oh, dong dancing, Bagwell?
Yeah.
We needed the full body shot, though.
Well, that's not Bagwell's fault.
We only get like barely from the waist up. So, buttocks up. You see? You can't
I think
do
I'm
that.
good with that.
These two know each other though. Prior to WCW, I would think. I'm assuming that. I don't know now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe Booker and Stevie might not have been in Global because Bagwell's been here for a while.
Couple of years now, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know if they crossed paths in Global. Maybe so, maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, we get the dong dance from Bagwell. Okay, what else you got from this one?
There wasn't a lot here.
There ain't nothing here, but the finish.
But not in a terrible way. Just they didn't do a lot.
They ate up, as you say, innings.
Yeah.
It's already a 2-hour show. We got a lot we got to get through, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the finish then because of that. Let me get there. So Simmons gets on the apron. Bagwell reverses an Irish whip that Booker is giving him. And Booker goes into Simmons. And after Simmons and Booker collide, Bagwell pins Booker and Bagwell picks up the win. 1, 2, 3. Wrong guy won. Doc, your thoughts?
Yeah, but it may be the only thing is it may be advancing something here.
Yeah,
probably not because it's WCW, but
we'll see. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
As we are getting ready to go off here, I'm gonna play some audio from Mean Gene. Here it is.
Well, folks, that wraps up a wild one here on Saturday night. Coming up, by the way, tomorrow night, 6:05 here on TBS. On the main event, join Bobby the Brain Heenan and myself, along with Eric Bischoff and Jesse the Body Ventura. Our main event tomorrow night features World Television Champion Lord Steven Regal. Also, coming up next week right here, we have found a suitable opponent for the Nature Boy Ric Flair. That will happen next Saturday night. And also on hand, of course, ringside will be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. For Bobby Heenan, for Tony Schiavone, for all of us at Saturday night, have a happy Easter, and so long, everybody.
So I wanted to play it because it's just a tease to Flair for next week. They found an opponent for him that'll wrestle on Saturday night. You know, back then you get your world champion wrestling on Saturday night. It's a big deal. So there's that.
Always.
Yeah. Nice little tease as you go off air, teasing your world champion will battle someone. Any other thoughts on the match that finished the show or anything else, Doc, before we go to
the
rated hand out the Toot Toot award?
Yeah, we can move to that. I'm looking up who he's going to wrestle next week.
So on that note, you know the drill by now. We're going to rate it, hand out the Toot Toot award and the Rolex or the Rogaine award, as Harper said when he gave it to Steve Keirn. Just a quick reminder, become a patron at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Spring Stampede is coming up in just a few weeks. The only way to listen to Spring Stampede is by signing up and becoming a patron. Not only will you get that, you'll get all of our WCW pay-per-views dating back to 1985, all of the Clash of the Champions, which, what are we through now, Doc? 26 of them, whatever it is. Yeah, we've done a bunch. There's not many more to go on the Clashes, that is. But all of the pay-per-views are available there. The World Class shows with Lance and myself, the JV Goon Squad shows, all available on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. When you sign up in the month of December through the day after Christmas, you will get, if you go annual, you'll get 2 months for free. That is 2 months for free when you go annual. Okay, Doc. Let's see. What are you going to rate it?
This is one of those weird episodes where it's kind of a return to form where the promos were better than the matches like we used to like it. So, I mean, there were some good promos tonight. Things that, you know, I wanted to hear from. I'm gonna say B+.
I'll give it a B+ as well. Regal's promo was really good. Flair's promo was really good. Buck and Colonel Parker was good. Colonel Parker and Austin was really, really good. We got to laugh at Steve Keirn, even though it wasn't great. It was just funny to kind of watch him make a surprise announcement or see his surprise announcement after his promo. So I'd almost give it an A-, to be honest with you, but I'll go B+, which leaves the Toot Toot Rolex or the Rogaine award. I'm not going to start saying Rogaine every week because honestly, that could go to a lot of people.
It could also I mean, they could pay for that sponsorship.
Right, that's true too. So who are you going to give your Toot Toot or Rolex, even though Rolex could pay for that sponsorship?
That's true too. On this show, it's probably more likely Rogaine, but oh yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff to happen, but it's got to be Flair because he was out there in a return to form and cutting good promo.
I considered Regal, but it's got to go to Flair for sure. He was just really good in his promo. So that just about wraps us up for this week. I want to remind you, when you see the shows posted on X, Blue Sky, Twitter, whatever it's called now with X, Facebook, repost, share the show. It helps the show out greatly. It is greatly appreciated when you do that. Can't tell you that enough. You know, we're not big names, as I always say. We don't do ads. We just throw a show out there, and your repost and shares and retweets and all that good stuff definitely help the channel grow. Don't forget to become a patron, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. You get the video versions of almost all the shows we do, along with all of our Patreon episodes. We got to be getting close to 500 now audio versions on Patreon, but the Ask Harper shows, we've done 4 parts at this point. They are phenomenal. They are absolutely great. Can't put them over any more than I'm doing it. So tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Right now, you can get all that gold there. All right, Doc.
So many more to come, too.
God, right? We're going to get at least, depending on if we can fit in an hour for one at some point, I'd say we got at least 3 more. But if we get if we have like a night where we're like, no, let's go ahead and knock one out, we might be able to just do 2 more. So, but again, we're already on part 4. So that means if we get to a 6th or 7th, you and I have never done more than like 4 parts when we do hours. So, what's that tell you?
The people have responded, as always.
Harper doesn't always answer it completely. We got to pull it out of him, but
we try.
And sometimes
we're working for you to try to get it all put together for you. So we're trying.
He's like a butterfly. You ask him the question, he completely forgets it and starts talking about something else sometimes, and we got to reel him back in. So
Tulane's number 12, bro.
Right. I don't even remember. We were RIP-ing Bob Cottle last week, and out of the blue, he's like, bro, Tulane's in. Harper, can you wait? The great Bob Cottle passed away. Hold your horses.
For real.
And that probably greatly explains, if you wanted a synopsis of BET, nothing more than that moment is a great example.
Yeah.
Staying on task is not Harper's strong suit, nor is it mine or Doc's sometimes. On that note, we're going to stay on task and get out of here. Thank you for listening. Repost, share the shows on all forms of social media when you see it. And we would greatly be appreciated if you could do that. Doc, why don't you hit the tagline? Let's get the heck out of here.
Book it, bitch.
Hey, everybody, it's AIEZE, Eric Bischoff. And let me tell you something. If you're not already a Booking the Territory Patreon subscriber, you're missing out on the real deal when it comes to classic wrestling talk. Doc, Harper, and Mike, they're not just fans. They live and breathe this stuff. And here's the kicker. Over on their Patreon page, you get even more. We're talking deep dives into the Clash of the Champions, every WCW pay-per-view through early 1994, classic world-class championship wrestling. And yeah, even those off-the-wall JV Goon Squad shows. This isn't cookie-cutter podcasting. This is the kind of unfiltered, entertaining, can't-miss content that makes you remember why you fell in love with wrestling in the first place. So do yourself a favor, head over to Patreon, search Booking the Territory, sign up, and get in on the action. Trust me. If you love old school wrestling, this is where you want to be.